Hello, good evening. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments now because that's exactly what I'm here to do, is answer your questions. I have a topic that I'm going to talk about, which is actually it's going to be the response to a question. That question is going to be, can you switch to VAWA when you've already filed through a spouse, the parent or the child, basically through the relative who has been mistreating you, subjecting you to extreme cruelty? The short answer is yes, you can. There is a way to do this. And so that's where it's very important for you to schedule an appointment to personally get legal advice. But I do want you to know that that option is available. Not because you have started the process means that now you have to put up with abuse or mistreatment or extreme cruelty. Now, the benefit of this is when you're here in the United States and you're filing through your relative who is mistreating you, they can you have to file what's called an adjustment of status to allow you to stay here to apply. And if you have a pending adjustment of status, that belongs to you. So when you're ready to switch because of the mistreatment, you want to have your own process, you want to take ownership of it and be independent of that relative who is mistreating you, then you can also take your adjustment of status with you. Meaning you can switch the adjustment of status from the process with the relative to the VAWA process. And what that means is that if you have a work permit that's pending or a travel document that through the adjustment of status, it gets to go with you to VAWA, right? And so what it means is you get to move on. You get to continue to work, you get to keep your work permit and your travel document. Now, I'm going to tell you the downside of this, but it is compared to the cons of the process, the benefits far outweigh the cons. Now, one con is that yes, when you do file the petition, you're starting over, right? Because you file a VAWA petition, it has to go through their decision process where they are going to put you in queue to go through the processing time. Right now, processing times for the VAWA petition is taking about 2 years. However, keep in mind that when you switch with your adjustment of status, you get to work, continue to renew your work permit and your travel document while they're processing and making a decision on your VAWA. So I think it's far better to be able to switch to a process where you have control, where you don't have to put up with the mistreatment, than to stay in that situation and be uncertain about your future, because that is what happens. When I have observed some of my clients who first start the process with their relative, a lot of that control is taken away from them, and a relative that's mistreating them constantly uses it, holds it over their head throughout the process. And sometimes when it comes to the very end of the process, they don't show up to the interview. If an interview is scheduled, for example, in the marriage base where the interview is very important, it's very common for a spouse that's mistreating you to then turn around and say they're not going to show up to the interview to help you to finalize the process. Sometimes they will cancel in the middle of the process. They will secretly, and the spouse only finds out later that their process was completely canceled to begin with. Another thing is when you sit down on this and you wait until the interview, if you in your gut, you feel like the spouse is not going to follow through all the way through the process with you, it's time to explore VAWA, where if this spouse is also mistreating you, you can apply for VAWA at the same time. So keep that in mind. that you do have the option, not because you've started the process. It doesn't mean that you can't then start your own process if you're being mistreated. Now I'm going to answer questions. So put those questions in the comments. I'm seeing many questions coming in through TikTok. So I'm going to go ahead and answer. You're welcome on YouTube. Now I see here, USCIS sent me the biometrics NOA notice. So the appointment letter. So the biometrics appointment letter. But they put my last name twice. Would that be a problem? Or they can fix it at the time of the appointment. You can always point it out to them at the appointment. Sometimes on the biometrics notice, your name may come across incorrect. If you inform them at the biometrics appointment, they will either note it or they'll tell you, instruct you on how you need to follow up. You can also call them directly. Depending, I don't know what type of application you're filing, but you can call them directly and see if they have a wrong name or was it just the biometrics notice that was incorrect. And then ask them to correct it there as well. All right, so keep those questions coming. I'm here to answer your questions. Hello, my I-130 is now an NVC. How long do you think before they send it to the embassy? So once it's at the NVC, what the NVC does is they wait for an immigrant visa number to become available. When one is available, they are going to ask you to submit additional documents and fill out an application, and also to pay what's called an invoice for the affidavit of support and the immigrant fee, the immigrant visa application fee. So you have to go through all of that. How long you're going to have to wait for it at the NVC is going to depend on what type of I-130 was filed. Remember, different family members can file, and how long it's going to take is going to depend on the type of family member and the category that you're in based on that family member. Thanks for the follow. Thanks for the love. Keep it coming and put your questions in the comments. Share the live. Share, so like, subscribe, share on YouTube. That is how I get valuable information out to people who do need this kind of information, and they're able to understand maybe what direction they should be going in regards to getting help. I'll tell you now that the best way to move forward in your case is to get legal advice and representation. I am a U.S. immigration attorney. I'm based in Florida, so Boca Raton, Florida. However, I represent my clients in all 50 states and the globe. Hi there, Caroline. It's nice to see you. So no matter where you are in the U.S., I can represent you before the USCIS, before an immigration court, and I also represent my clients before the embassies all around the world. So no matter where you are, I can help you with a U.S. immigration issue. All right, so what does it mean when USCIS says case closed but never received the green card or the interview? It means that there may be something, there may have been a miscommunication. You have to contact the USCIS, and if there's really an issue and you want to figure out what happened, you can always get advice from an attorney such as myself. You can go to the link in the profile to schedule your appointment to talk more about your case. NVC approved, but no interview yet. Yep, everybody's waiting for interviews right now. As an F1 student, can my status still remain when I travel with my advanced parole? So with the F1, right, you have F1, if you have a F1 visa, then you should be able to move back and forth with that. However, if you are applying for adjustment of status and you have advanced parole through the adjustment of status, then you should be able to re-enter with that. However, keep in mind, you've given me very general information here. So I know you're an F1, but where did the advanced parole come from? Do you have F1 status or the visa? Did you get advanced parole through, adjustment of status or through other means? So when in doubt, in this case, especially when your whole future in the United States is on the line, that's where you need to schedule an appointment and make sure you speak to an attorney, such as myself, because there are a lot of follow-up questions that I would have in a consultation regarding you being F1 and then having advanced parole. Please, is it possible to marry asylum seeker while you are waiting for your asylum? So is it advisable? It's possible, but is it advisable? It's going to come down to what's going on in both of your cases. You can marry anybody you want, but is it advisable? Is it going to be advantageous? Is it going to be a disadvantage to you? I wouldn't know that unless I understand where you're coming from. What's your case? Where are you? What's your status? What's the spouse's status? And then also keep in mind is the reason, if you're marrying the asylum seeker to gain an immigration benefit, there may be a problem there. But if this is a bona fide relationship, then maybe not so much. I would have to understand what your situation is. All right, keep it coming. Great questions so far. I'm scrolling through. Can someone who's going to seek asylum? Okay, so I did that one. I sent my papers, but how long does it take to get the receipt notice? It's going to depend on the type of application. It could range anywhere from 2 weeks to 8 weeks, depending on what you're applying for. Right now, asylum is backed up even, I've seen as long as 6 months right now for the receipt notice. How long does the filing take for a child in Jamaica? I'm a green card holder, 18 to 24 months roughly, or a little over 24 months. Right now in Jamaica, you're waiting about a year just for the interview after going through the initial requirements of the NVC to get that scheduled. If I petition for my mom now, how long do you think it will take for her to be here in the States? I don't know what your situation is. A basic case with no added complications could be anywhere from 6 months to a little over 18 months. How long does the I-90 extension form last for? So you should get a 12-month extension, and then you can always go and get what's called an I-551 stamp in your passport. So just because the extension is coming to an end, doesn't mean that you can't continue to get proof of permanent residence. You can get that in your passport. How long does it take to approve the I-140 after approval of the I-765? So it's going to depend on the service center, and but you could be looking at anywhere from 9 to 12 months. And that's not after the approval of the I-765, that's after the filing date. Where are you based? I'm in Boca Raton, Florida, but keep in mind I represent clients in all 50 states and around the globe. Hi there, it's nice to see you. How does it mean when the USCIS says case is closed, but I did not get the green card as yet? So you'll have to contact them. It means the case is closed. Now, is that a problem for you? If you don't have your green card and you didn't get an official approval, then there may be an issue there. You need to contact them. After someone U visa has been approved, how long do they have to wait to get their relief? So it shouldn't take long, a few weeks at minimum. So once they're approved, the next thing is you'll be getting your benefits in the mail to be able to get your work permit. So it should be a few weeks after the approval. How long does it take to get approval for I-140? So I answered that. I applied for my brother on September 7, 2007. I have already paid for everything. I'm waiting. So I don't know which country you're in, but it's taking around 14 years total. So yeah, you should be around now. I don't know if the National Visa Center has sent you everything you need to pay for. It sounds like it. So now you should just be waiting for the interview. Hi, how long does it take if I petition for my mom to come here in the States? So as long as you're a citizen, you could be looking at anywhere from if they're outside of the United States, anywhere from a year to 18 months. Unfortunately, due to the wait for the interview, up to 24 months, I would say. If they're in the country, it could be anywhere from 6 months to 12 months. For an interview, what can I do? So now for an interview, it depends. I do have, if you go to the link in the profile so in the link in the profile, you will see a page that has how to schedule your own consultation, link to the website, and then towards the bottom is a link to sample marriage-based questions. I don't know if that's going to help you. If it's a marriage-based, then that may very well help you to prepare for your interview. Keep in mind that is not a substitute for legal advice. It's just general information that's out there, but it might be helpful. Go to the link in the profile, and this is also on YouTube. If you go to the description, the video description, you'll see the Linktree link. Use that link to access the sample interview questions. Is it possible to is possible to I-751 marry while waiting for their case? So that is going to, whether that's advisable, right? Is it advisable? Where are you are you divorced? Did you file a waiver? All of this is going to play into whether it is advisable for you to remarry while your I-751 process is going through. So I can't stress enough, get legal advice. Is it safe to travel with advanced parole from I-765? Whether it's advisable, it's going to come down to getting legal advice, because remember, every case is different. A client who has nothing in their background that's going to be alarming is going to generally be safe, right? There is that risk, though, that coming in, you may not be permitted to come back in. And the risk gets higher if there is an inadmissibility, criminal history, if there was fraud or misrepresentation or other issues that the immigration officers have identified. And so that's where it's important to make sure that you schedule a consultation and have representation. That's what I do for my clients. I don't just file their papers and leave them hanging. I advise them through the entire process. And if I feel, based on my experience, that it's not safe for them to travel, I tell them don't travel. But it really is on a case-by-case basis. I do juvenile work, but this is the situation due to COCO's, the final adoption required in my state. So I'm sorry, I'm not understanding that question. Okay, so this is very detailed, and you'll definitely need to make sure you consult. You have to do a consultation. 19 days after they're 18 years old, what is the next step? I don't know if this is related to the SIJS process. If in some states they do require you to be 18 in order to get this order. In this case, you're saying adoption order. But if this is in some way related to immigration, there are age limits and requirements, or SIJS, same thing. So this is too detailed for me to answer here. How long does the form that I get for extension, last for? So I answered that it could be 12 months, and it's a letter, it's like an extension letter. But you do, if it runs out, you can go get an I-551 stamp at the USCIS. How long does it take to get an interview when applying for adjustment of status for spouse? So I'm seeing anywhere from 5 months. I've seen the shortest I've seen is 5 months, and the longest post-COVID, 8 months for that interview. But it could go up to a year. I filed last week VAWA when I expect biometrics and prima facie. So whether you get the prima facie is going to depend on have you met all the requirements. Now with the biometrics, you could expect a biometrics anywhere from a month to 3 months after you filed. The prima facie, about 3 months to 6 months after filing. But keep in mind, the prima facie isn't automatic. They want to make sure that you meet the requirements. How long does it get an interview applying for adjustment of status for spouse? I answered that. How long does it take I-824 to approve file to transfer my approved I-130 for spouse? So, I wouldn't have that information. It depends on your case, service center, what's going on, what stage of the process you are at now. Can you travel on the stamp? So if you're talking about the I-551 stamp, yes, the I-551 stamp, it's proof of permanent residence and it is safe to travel as long as it's valid. It hasn't expired. We both have working permit, but my case is approaching soon. Hi, when your case from National Benefits, okay, so I think it was moved to the National Benefits Center. So it depends. I wouldn't be able to tell you what that means. I don't know your case and I'm not your attorney. This is a good time to remind you that I am not your attorney and I'm here giving general information, not personalized legal advice. So just be sure that you get legal advice, protect yourself, and invest in yourself and your future by getting legal advice and representation. If you're waiting on an interview date, can the other party cancel your case? And if yes, what can you do? Yes, they can. If the petitioner wants to cancel, they can. What can you do? Well, if the petitioner wants to cancel, there's nothing you can do to force them to continue. However, as I stated before, for example, in VAWA, if you're being mistreated and this individual who's mistreating you is a spouse, a parent, if you're under 21, under 25 in some cases, or a citizen, son or daughter who's 21 and up, and they cancel and this is due to mistreatment, you could file for your own process. So you don't even have to involve them in the process. Schedule that consultation and we can talk more. Can I apply for VAWA if I don't have joint lease or joint bank account? Absolutely. However, now where that's coming from is when you're applying for VAWA, you do have to show that you have a bona fide marriage. Bona fides of a marriage can be proven in other ways other than just a joint lease or a joint bank account. And that's going to come down to what your situation is. What was your marriage like? Do I have to change my last name to my husband for him to file my paperwork? No. My case to move to the National Visa Center, what does that mean? I wouldn't be able to tell you because I'm not your attorney. How long does it take to get approval for the green card after approval of I-140? So I wouldn't be able to tell you that. I can tell you in general that the processing times that I'm seeing right now for the I-140 in adjustment of status is 9 months to 12 months. Question, if you leave your country to seek asylum and get married to an American citizen, and still get your documents, it may be possible, but you have to schedule an appointment to make sure that you can do that, because whether or not you can do that, whether it's advisable, it's going to come down to your particular circumstances. VAWA work permit and advance parole coming through National Benefit Center. So yes, when you do get them, you get them from the Benefit Center. If you're in the U.S. you are in your 40s, can your mother file for you? Yes, but if you're out of status, you're going to encounter a more complex process, right? For example, if you're out of status, you're 40, and you're unmarried, it's 5 to 7 year process. So it is a long process than what many think it is. And you will not qualify for adjustment of status if you ended up overstaying. So that's where it's important to schedule a consultation and get personalized legal advice to ensure that you understand how to go about your process. Can I travel on the I-551 stamp? Yes. Whether now, keep in mind, Stolapos, I am not telling you personally to travel on that I-551 stamp. Whether that's advisable is going to come down to your particular circumstances. My marriage has been only 2 months old, so it is still possible. Remember that abuse comes in different forms, and abuse lasts for it could last only for a week. And that would not disqualify you if you've been married for 2 months. Now, keep in mind that this is a process where you do have to be very careful with how you file. You make sure that you have the right evidence, that you can provide the legal basis for why you're applying and why you need to get this. And so that's where getting a consultation is very important. My son is permanent resident, but I overstay with my visa. What can I do? Your son wouldn't be able to sponsor you because they're a permanent resident. They'll have to become a citizen and then sponsor you. I already paid for my dad's green card, but how long will it take before he got it? If he's going through adjustment of status, it's going to depend on a lot of things. The service center, what's going on in his case, where is he? Is he in the US? Is he outside of the US? What's his current immigration status? So, make sure you get legal advice. Can someone file I-130 for a spouse when she entered with K1 but got married after 90 days? So yes, that is possible. No, got married. So she got married after 90 days. So her case may be a more complex, especially, trying to first, who did she get married to? Was it the same person or otherwise? So schedule a consultation and we'll talk. Do you have your own law firm? Yes, I do. It's ST Law Office. You'll see it on YouTube. So the name is The Immigration Attorney is the channel on YouTube, but it's under ST Law Office. And then on Facebook, it's ST Law Office. All right. Thanks for all your questions, all the love. These are all great questions. I'd love to get to all of them, but I have to head on over to Instagram. I'll be back tomorrow to talk about a topic, and you can also come and ask your questions there. Go ahead, join me on Instagram. I'm The Immigration Attorney on Instagram. On YouTube, you'll see the link in the profile if you'd like to schedule your own appointment, or you would like to just go to the website, you want the phone number, it's all there in the description of the video. And on TikTok, go to the link in the profile. You have everything you need to schedule your own appointment. Thanks for the shares. Go ahead, share my videos, share this information, like, subscribe on YouTube, because that's what keeps me giving you information that's going to be helpful to you and empower you. I'll be back tomorrow at around 4 p.m. So look out for me, join me, follow me so that you can get notification when I am live and we can continue to talk. You can join me on Instagram right now, though. I'm The Immigration Attorney on Instagram, where we can continue having this conversation. You're welcome on YouTube, and thanks for everything, and thanks for the love on TikTok. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.